Another year has come and gone, and I think it's important that we celebrate the successes and accomplishments that happen over time, especially in an industry of accessibility and disability where there's so many challenges and negative things that are happening. I really want to highlight some positive things that have happened in the last year. The first accomplishment I want to mention is that Alexa has done updates to make it so that people with speech impairments are able to use their devices better. Now, this is a super important thing for them to be working on because, as most people know, Alexa is voice activated. This year, they have rolled out multilingual customization, which is super awesome to see this improvement happening. And I hope that they continue to progress and make their devices more inclusive for more people. The next thing I want to highlight is Apple and their iOS devices becoming a little bit more accessible every time they roll things out. I personally just updated my phone and I found it helpful. They have this new feature where you can set your overall text for your device. This was similar to what they already had, but I did notice that it was more overall arching for a lot more different things and apps on my phone, and it's been a great improvement for me, and it makes it easier for me to also magnify things that I need to magnify a lot more efficiently than before. They also recently rolled out new updates for mobility and hearing, and also for cognitive. If any of these features are things that you've tried out and they've been helpful to you, I'd love to hear about those experiences in the comments below. I'll put a link in my description so that you can check out an article that explains all of the different things that have happened in the new iOS update. That way you can benefit from them if it's something that would be helpful to you. All right, the next one is something that I'm excited about personally, and that's improvements with Google Meet. This is Google's application similar to Zoom where you can meet with other people and have a video call. And I have found that Zoom is a lot more accessible for me over Google Meet. And so I'm excited to see that they're making strides to try to improve that. I read in an article by Google that this includes multi-language live translation, and they also rolled out audio description for presentations that are going on. I haven't tried out this feature and I'm excited to try it out and see how well it works. In the year 2024, Xbox announced that they're going to be creating a more modular design so that people who need to have different configurations with their controllers will have a lot more options because they can customize it to exactly what they need. And a super cool feature that they're doing in early 2025 with this rollout is that you can get a custom 3D printed file where you can make it exactly how you need it to be, and then you print it on a 3D printer and then you can use it for part of your controller to make it exactly what you might need. The ability for the users to be able to customize exactly to their need is super helpful and is a great way to really make sure that you're reaching as many people and helping them with their specific needs. Another big one for people who are visually impaired or blind is Netflix is currently on an initiative to make all of their content have audio descriptions. Now, audio description is describing those things in a video that you don't even think about aren't being explained when you can actually see it. So say there's a text on the screen on someone's phone and they're trying to give context of what's happening, but if you can't visually read that text, then you're not going to understand the full context of what's happening in the video. Also, there's just visual cues and things that you're gathering information from by looking at it that someone who isn't seeing it is not gaining. And so by adding audio description, it describes those things to people. And Netflix this year has announced that they have up to 95% of their content of their original Netflix series having audio description. So they're aiming to get that to 100%, and then they're working on making things that aren't their original series also have audio description. And I really hope that other streaming platforms looks at Netflix, who is seen as like one of the greatest and best of streaming platforms, takes their lead and also follows along and starts to do that themselves. The next accomplishment is that Broadway has their shows, and they've been doing things called sensory-friendly shows, and these specifically make it easier for people with autism and other cognitive disabilities so that they can enjoy a show. And this is great because there's certain things like bright lights or flashing lights or too much stimulation with sound that make it difficult for some people with disabilities to enjoy typical shows like a Broadway musical. And so I was super happy to see that they had record high amount of sensory friendly performances in the year 24, which is really great to see that it's increasing and not decreasing, and that people are using them and going to that and taking advantage of this, and that they should continue to increase how many of their shows they're doing as sensory friendly performances. It doesn't mean that you have to go to one. It's explicitly on their website, so that helps people who want to go to one that's sensory friendly, but it also helps people who don't want to be in that environment and they want more of a traditional Broadway experience. Now, the next accomplishment, I have been seeing this a little bit in the news here and there. It's an interesting one where there's new rules and laws being made so that people who fly in airplanes have to be able to get their mobility devices quicker. And if they don't, then they have to do certain things in order to make it fair or make it up to them. So this has been a big problem in the past, and I'm grateful to see that they're trying to get in the right direction of making things right. It can still be kind of tricky. So here's the thing, if you have a mobility device like a wheelchair, or you need like a walker or scooter or anything, and you're not allowed to have it on the actual plane while you're flying, and then you get off the plane and you can't get access to your wheelchair, then you're not going to be able to get around as you need to, and that's going to be a big struggle. So part of the new law is you have to provide temporary mobility devices for the customers until they can get their own back, and you have only a certain amount of time to get those back. This can be kind of challenging still, in the way that a lot of people's mobility devices are very customized to their specific needs, but making it so there's this compromise of trying to find a way to help them get by until they can have their own. I think there's still improvement for how this is done, but also I'm grateful to see that they are making effort to try to make things right and make it so that these people aren't just being stranded and aren't able to get around as needed. So another part of it is that they'll pay for your things that are damaged or lost to get replaced. They will bring your things to your hotel or wherever you want them to be brought, so that you don't have to go back to the airport or stay there for hours on end without knowing when you're ever going to get access back to your wheelchair or your other mobility device. And the last milestone of 2024 that I wanted to talk about was how Nessa Rose in Wicked was played by a real live wheelchair user. This is the first time in the history of the show of Wicked. I did a whole video about this, and so you can go check that video out. I'll make sure to link it for you. But I thought it was super exciting that they finally had someone who was a wheelchair user play Nessa Rose in the movie. They also have some good representation when it comes to Alphaba and being different and having green skin, and I thought the message was great for that. I'm really curious to see how part 2 plays out for Wicked, because I hear that Nessa is a lot more of a main character in the second movie, and so I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. I wanted to make sure to mention that none of these are perfect, and they're always going to be needing improvement and maintenance and progression as we go along, but it's really important that we celebrate the good things that are happening. Let me know in the comments below if there's any other accomplishments of 2024 that you think I missed that should have made this list. Cheers to the year 2025 and all the great things that are going to come in the next year. I hope that you all have a fantastic week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!